live.
Okay.
This is the first ever podcast of the Wildcats All-Access, right?
Yes.
Are we excited?
Yes, very excited. I think it's a really cool opportunity to be able to showcase different perspectives from different athletes and even staff members. There's a lot more to come with this, so we're really excited that we're going to get the ball rolling today.
Oh, yeah.
We've also just never done anything like this. Like, JWU doesn't have it, so I think it'll be cool.
No, not at all. I mean...
A little insider perspective that we don't have at JWU yet.
No. All-Access, that's why.
Yeah. I like the name of the podcast, and I think it's also good for, like, recruits and people that are very interested in the athletic department and kind of what we do, whether it's students, whether it's new recruits and everything. I think it's going to be a really good thing for them to understand, like, the culture that we have at Johnson Wells, because I think it's a good one, and I don't think we get to showcase it as much, so this is going to help with that.
Right. So, like, I'll start off. I'm your host. My name is Dorta, and today's episode is going to be about getting to know the cast. Both my co-pilots, JB, his name is John Billinis, and Aubree Warren. We're just going to call her Aubree for today. So now, is this like your first podcast, or how do y'all feel? Like, I know, like, sometimes you kind of start with like your first ever podcast, you kind of get like the jitters. You're like,
yeah, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I think I'm okay. I'm just gonna like say something and then I might stutter and everything like that. But once we get the ball rolling, I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a conversation.
Yeah.
Just forget about them.
Yeah.
We're just talking. We're just chopping it up. But yeah, I mean, like, was this like a resolution for you guys? Like, do y'all expect to be doing like a podcast at all, or?
I mean, maybe you want to speak to it. I didn't think I was going to. I knew that as soon as we started the SAAC and everything like that, and we got into the executive board and everything like that, it was something that we wanted to talk about and we wanted to pursue. But I didn't actually think it was going to happen this recent, you know. And so as of right now, it's early January, so it's really nice to be able to start this early.
Yeah, I never really thought about it, but as soon as we said we were going to do one, I was like, okay, like, it's me. I'm be on it. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, like
I'd like to be involved.
Yeah, when I found out about this, I was like, yes, like, I'm so down. Like, this would be what an experience to do, like, especially for the school. But, like, resolutions. Do y'all do any resolutions at all? Like, do y'all believe in it, or, like, do y'all have any New Year's resolution for 2025?
I have goals, but not, like, resolutions.
Yeah,
because I feel like goals are, like, a little bit... You can edit them, like, a little more. A resolution feels very, like, this has to happen, and as soon as you fail it, you can't really go back to it.
Yeah.
So, like, just goals, because goals can be adjusted.
Like, what are some of your goals?
Like, I have daily goals, weekly goals, semester goals.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, my goal for today is go home and actually do my laundry.
Yeah.
But, like, my weekly goals are to get my runs in, get my lifts in, go to practices.
Okay.
So, yeah.
JV, what about you? Like, is it, like, you have New Year, like, throughout the year, or, like, a resolution?
I think for me, I don't do resolutions because I think there's almost, like, I'm doing a resolution, and it's like you don't actually focus on it. I think a goal is much better. So I have goals, but like that I want to accomplish by the end of the year, and like weekly and daily goals as well, like laundry. Every college student can relate to this. You procrastinate your laundry. Like, it's a thing that everybody does, and then you sit there with like loads of laundry that you then need to fold. So everyone procrastinates laundry. But I think definitely resolutions, no one really sticks to them, I think.
No.
Yeah, I think goals are much better because you can edit them. You can set, like, actual goals, because resolutions, like, at some point in the year, you know, I want to tend to my garden or whatever it is, you know, and so you don't actually, I think, set a goal and a time frame and, like, look forward to doing it and pursue it and push yourself to do it. With a goal, I think you do that. So I don't really do resolutions, but I do goals. I think that's, like, the core of being an athlete, and you guys might touch on this as well.
Yeah. That,
like, setting goals and everything. I mean, your team does it, your coach does it and everything, but you yourself have to do it, you know, whatever. I mean, I know you both play soccer and I play tennis, but I think that's the core of an athlete, is to also set goals. So I think that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, because your goals can be adjusted. So, like, I go into every practice, like, with a different goal. But then I take, if I actually achieve that goal, like, I write it down. Our coach gives us a binder.
Yeah. And
so, like, you have your weekly goals and you have your weekly reflections. But, like, I took it a little step further because every practice I want to do something different.
Yeah.
So, like, I write down my goals for that practice. And then at the end of practice, I can reflect and be like, okay, did I complete 80% of my passes? Did I do this?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just better reflection, I think. But a resolution is more broad, and I can't think that broad. Like, I'm just trying to get through day by day.
Yeah. Like, my resolution is, like, similar to how you take your resolutions as well as you. I don't really have, like, you know, I'm going to do this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just do it. Like, just say yes to everything that comes your way when it comes to, like, trying a new experience. Because you never know the connections you make, who you'll meet on the way, and whether or not you'll like it. So, like, anything that kind of, like, for example, this podcast, when they say, hey, you want to do the podcast? Like, you know what? Yeah, like, I don't know where it'll take me, right?
That's true.
So, like, obviously, like, it's great. I mean, more than anything, I just love trying new things. Like, my question for y'all would be, like, if y'all like weren't playing sports or y'all had a little bit more free time in the week, what's like a hobby that you guys would want to like pick up or like do?
I think for me, it's like cooking. I like to cook. You're
in the right place.
Yeah, I know, right? The JWU Athletics and JWU academics and everything take up a majority of my time, but like the culinary program here is amazing. You get to go up to the 5th floor, or I think the 3rd floor, maybe it's third floor, the dining hall experience, which is really cool and it's great. And I think cooking is a valuable skill. Like out of all the hobbies to have, like that's a really good one. So that's something that I wish I could spend more time with recipes and stuff like that to try, but usually I like get some pasta, cook some chicken, or put some rice in, like the rice cooker and just kind of hurry it up in there. I have my apartment off campus, so I'm able to have some more free time to do it and freedom to do it, but I just don't have a lot of, I guess, necessarily time. So I go into cooking a little bit more and do stuff like that and maybe play some video games back like I did in the old days.
Like, what's your favorite dish? Like, if you had, I love asking this question.
Okay.
Like, you're in jail. You're going to get the death penalty. You're getting one more meal.
Okay.
What is the last thing you're going to eat?
For me, so I'm part Greek, part Serbian, so I think it's just going to be some Greek food. Like, I just think it's, like, nostalgic to me. Like, some yam, lamb with rice, some tzatziki sauce, just pita, maybe some cevapcici sarma. That's, like, traditional foods, Serbian foods. So anybody that understands that listening out there, that's great. I think it's just nostalgic. Maybe that's why I would want it. For the nostalgic purposes, it's also really, really good. So I don't know if that's my favorite meal, but if I was like about to be executed, that is my last meal. That's what I want.
That sounds good. A gyro. I would kill a gyro right now.
Yeah. Oh man. Gyro? Did you just say gyro?
Gyro. Did I say it right?
No, it's gyro.
Gyro. Sorry. I'm gonna get canceled.
No, that's okay. People are gonna be like in the comments. No.
I said that. Tzatziki. How you say tzatziki?
Yeah, tzatziki.
I said the jitty sauce, and they got so mad. They're like, "You gotta leave my party right now for saying that." Oh my god, what about you, Aubree?
Well, I don't often think about if I was being executed.
Well, no,
fair,
if you want to answer that question, but I was saying like hobby-wise, like what would you want to do?
Well, I try and give myself some time to do things I enjoy, but I like to be a little lazy. Like, that is my hobby. I like building Legos, but if I'm not doing that, like, I feel like my body's going all day, every day. So, like, I really like just watching TV. Watching NCIS.
Wow.
That's my favorite show.
That's a good one.
I'm on my rewatch right now, my annual rewatch. I've done 9 seasons in like a month.
Oh wow.
Well, for me, like, I think if I could try anything, I mean, it sounds cliche, but like I would try jiu-jitsu. I mean, I've done because like before soccer, I did martial arts. So I was already like a competitor, and like I love like kind of perfecting my craft and like kind of fighting. So jiu-jitsu would have been really cool because I've heard like it relieves stress. You're focused on your craft, the people you're surrounded with, and it reduces stress. So that's something that I think maybe later on, maybe after college and like when I'm done with soccer, that's something maybe I'll pick up just to kind of stay fit and do exercise. Like, I think that would be really cool. But like, kind of.
And you get your workout in.
Oh yeah.
I've been thinking about that. Like when I'm done with soccer, I don't even know how I'm gonna work out.
Yeah.
Like the only exercise I know is soccer related.
Yeah. Now, like, speaking of soccer and, like, sports, there's big news for JWU Athletics.
Yes. I like the segue.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
JB, do you want to announce it or should I announce it?
I can go ahead and announce it. So we have been accepted to the Coast to Coast Conference. Moving forward, we're almost there to officially 100% being an NCAA Division III school, which is huge for the school, huge for the program. I know I sat in some meetings with the different conferences, with the NCAA reps. They've been really willing to work with us, and so it's an amazing opportunity just to further the athletic aspect that we have here in the athletic department here at Johnson & Wales. But it's also huge for the academics. It's proving that when the athletics rise and they do better, especially going to D3, more students come to the schools and everything. So I think it's going to put JWU Athletics on the map, but I think it's also going to really put the athletics on the map as well.
100%. Like, we were actually projected to be in NCAA for the academic year of 2028-2029. We're actually doing it for 2025-2026. Yeah. So, like, that's awesome. Just like the effort of JWU just kind of being able to try to get into the NCAA, like, they're trying to get it done. Yeah. It's great. Also, like, we've had people, counselors like Chris Rockel. He's one of the ones that expressed, like, they're pretty confident in our abilities. Big shout out to really the athletics because they go out and compete. When they go out to the UCSA, the Small College Association, they actually go out and go to win the national championship.
Yeah.
If not, to go compete. Like, shout out to the men's soccer team, 2-time national champs. Women's, they made it to the national championship this year.
Yes.
And, like, obviously I know tennis as well, want to go compete as well. So that's all just kind of building that resume to show that, hey, we're not going to go and just get slapped silly. We're actually going to go out and compete. Like, we actually want to go and compete with, like, good
women's
teams
basketball's
out
on track to going this season, too.
That's true.
That's pretty
They're
good.
killing it.
Now, talking about basketball, big wins this week.
That's true.
2 wins, men and women.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all want to chat about it?
Yeah, I do. I think the women's and men's basketball programs, you know, they were playing during break and everything like that, so they've been really grinding. I think winter sports can be kind of difficult because your break gets cut short, you know, and so I think like for fall sports, you guys don't really get a fall break. I know for spring sports, we don't really get a spring break. They don't really get a winter break, which to me is like one of the nicest ones out of all of them.
Yeah.
So I think they've been really putting in the work. They've been grinding. We have a couple double-doubles as well, and they were pretty good wins from, if I stand corrected, from the teams as well. So it's really good. And the women's teams, I think 12-4 now, so they're really doing great to be on track.
I think they're seeded third.
They're seeded third now. Well, congratulations, women's basketball. We hope that you guys continue up there, and men's basketball, they did really well again this week. So
yeah, big shout out to Samara Britz on her getting her double-double, 19 points, 11 rebounds, and Jalen Brinson with exactly 14 points and 11 rebounds. That's pretty sick.
Okay.
But we had a lot of guys out there as well getting to the double digits on points, as well as for the females. Like Marla Preston actually got 3 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 steals, and 5 blocks.
Wow.
Man, she's all over the place.
Wow,
she can do it all.
Defensive,
she can do it all.
Defensive performance.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, JB, I want to kind of start with you a little bit. Just get to know you a little bit better. You know, talk about the clubs you're involved in and like what's your role that you play in.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, I am the SAAC chair and everything. So I do a lot in the campus. Johnson & Wales. I actually transferred to Johnson & Wales after my freshman year, and I really do enjoy it here. I think it's important to have a voice in the school that you go to. And I think JWU Athletics and the academic programs really allow you to do that. So I am the former president of the Business Society, a member of the Accounting Society. I'm the vice president of student government, and now I'm the SAAC chair, and I'm captain of the men's tennis team as well. So that's kind of the stuff I'm involved in. I think it's really important.
Cool. Now, Aubree kind of touched like kind of topics about sports, and you're on the tennis team.
Yes.
So like, tell us about your experience of being part of the team.
Yeah, so it's been great. I really enjoy it. My previous school, there wasn't really this like camaraderie, this family, and I think we're not necessarily your typical team sport other than like soccer and basketball where they are. I think it's a big thing though to be able to be an individual sport but still have that family mentality, and I think JWU tennis embodies that. You know, I know last year was a big adjustment for us because we had a lot of new members, we had a lot of new people coming in, and we know that we might be going to NCAA D3. So when you do that, you play a lot of D3 schools. And so I think for us it was pretty difficult, especially me adjusting into that number one role, being able to lead the team. It's not as easy as people think. There's a lot of times where you have meetings with your coaches. You are part of the leadership aspect of your team, and it really depends on like how you do moving forward and everything. So it's been a great experience. I've been enjoying it. Sometimes it can be a grind. You know, D3 don't have like the D1 resources. You have the long bus rides, like the 5-6 hours, even more for when y'all went to Pittsburgh for the playoff. So it's 6.5. So it's like it can be very difficult, you know, juggling like homework and stuff like that as well. But I absolutely love it. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm excited for the season.
Now, is this like your second year for JWU or like tennis?
Yeah, second year.
Well, I mean, in that short span, what's like your most memorable moment you've had like within the last 2 years?
Oh man, okay. So I think my most memorable moment was we were all playing against a small JUCO school. And the guys, we won doubles, so we kind of put some of the like bench players kind of in to start on that game. And it was a big game for us because it would have gotten us a 4-match win streak. And I was coaching who my captain is now, shout out to Wilder, and I was helping coach him through it, and he was down a set, came back up a set, came back a tiebreaker to clinch the match. I was coaching him through, and we were all there. So that was really cool. And probably spring break, we usually had a losing record in the past. And last semester, we go to spring break, we go to Hilton Head, and we go to the Performance Tennis Resort there, and we played, and we went 3-1, and we won 2 close matches, and we tied them up late at night when the lights are on the court and everything like that. Night tennis, best kind of tennis. I'm sticking to that argument, and it was absolutely just awesome just to be able to be together watch us go 3-1 and just watch us get closer together. So favorite moments.
Yeah, as an athlete, I love playing night games.
Yes.
Night games the best. It's not too hot, not too cold.
Yeah.
You honestly, I feel like you get like that that AA battery of just like energy.
Yes.
You just keep playing, like you know what I mean. Like I don't know if anyone gets it, but
no,
it's the lights, like being under the lights.
Yeah, glow.
Yeah.
It puts in the
the glow. Yeah,
it's glowing, right? Now in Hilton Head, I mean, there's internships opportunities there. I mean, like how's like Hilton Head? It's like beautiful, right?
Yeah. Hilton Head is really pretty. It's more of a, I would say, more geared towards retirement communities, but like everyone kind of goes there. I mean, I kind of from South Carolina-ish. I went to high school in South Carolina and everything, so into the upstate, but there's the lower part of the state, the Charleston, Hilton Head area is beautiful.
Cool. Now, like you mentioned, you're in a lot of clubs, as well. You take care of tennis. Like, how do you balance all that? Because like it seems like you have a really busy schedule throughout the school year. Like, how do you balance like your overall like schedule throughout the day, throughout the week when it comes to like making sure you're doing your best in tennis as well as these clubs?
I think the two things it comes down to, one is like willingness, like your mentality to do it. Like if you are wanting to be the best version of yourself and continue going on and just get ready for the real life, I think you have to do your best to continue and moving forward. That means it's like, hey, I want to be involved in clubs. I have an internship right now, so I want to just continue to grow. You just have to be willing to sit there like, okay, I'm going to plan out my schedule. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, spend more time doing homework on the weekends, things like that. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that, but you have to be willing to do it. Like you just have to, same thing with training when you do the conditioning, when it's long in the season, you have to be willing to not just love your sport, but love the grind. And I think it comes to life in general. It's like you have to be literally willing to do it. And every single day by day, even though you're tired at 9 p.m., now is the only time I can do my homework. So I think it comes down to time management, planning out your schedule, going in a calendar and everything like that. That sounds super cliche, but it works. I think we can all attest to it. We're all very busy. We're all also student athletes on top of it. I think you have to be willing to do it, and I think you have to really manage your time well. And it's not perfect on it. I still have to, do a lot of work along with it, and work on things. But I think the time management aspect and really the willingness to be able to do it.
100%. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like for humans, individuals, like you should only have like at least 3 tasks on your plate.
Yeah.
When it comes to school, like for example, it could be school, work, and your sports team.
Yeah.
Anything more, it's going to be very challenging. You're going to be juggling a lot of things. You're not going to be putting like the full effort.
Right.
So like at the end of the day, I think you have to like kind of have your priorities straight.
Right.
Obviously, you have to do. Obviously, you have to make sacrifices when it comes to like socializing with your friends, certain things you want to do. But like, you have to make sure you get these things done before you want to go and do all the other activities.
Yeah.
Now, with the tennis team, how do you think like it's influenced you kind of like in the workforce when it comes to like teamwork? And like, how would that like kind of affect you like in your life? You feel?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I'm early on in my career. I've had a couple internships. Right now, I'm an accounting intern, and I'm an accounting and finance major. And I think it's just you have to deal with the challenges that face. I mean, in soccer, if you let a goal in or you miss an easy opportunity, or in tennis, you miss a shot because it's very mentally tough. Just the same thing in work when you're not understanding the assignment, when you're not doing your task properly, when you're trying to understand the software and learning. It's like you're going to have to overcome these challenges over and over and over again, and it becomes very frustrating and annoying, and you have to still maintain your professionalism. Just like when you're on the court, on the field, whatever it might be, you still have to maintain that level of professionalism. You can't lose your you can't crash out. Like, all honesty, like you can crash out.
We've all crashed out.
Yeah, we've all crashed out, and like it still happens, but I think you have to mentally stay focused in it. And not only does that help that when you can find that balance in like my athletic aspect, but helping me find that balance in athletics helped me find it in the workforce, whether I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go outside for a walk because I worked in analytical software and I didn't have any experience with it. So it was like watching YouTube videos and crying and trying to figure it out and asking for help and going on Microsoft Help, which was not very helpful. So I think it's just keep going every day and trying your best to maintain the professionalism and understanding how to overcome the challenge. I mean, again, it's kind of a cliche thing, but I think that's why everyone says it, because it's easy to crash out. It's easy to just sit there and be like, what, I quit. Like, I can't do this. But you have to be able to maintain the professionalism and find a way to go ask for help and everything.
Yeah, 100%. I think you have to hold yourself accountable at the end of the day.
Yeah, you do.
And the main thing is, like, I learned this, not a lot of people watch footy, but Pep Guardiola, he's a great coach.
Yeah.
He said it best. Like, in football, and I can say this about life and any other sports, it's 10% in your craft. So like in soccer, it's your feet, tennis, your hands, 90% in your head.
Yeah, it is. It's so mental.
If you can control that mental, like, you can, the sky's the limit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Now, like, kind of stop talking about you.
Yeah.
And since I'm talking about footy already.
Okay.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
My segment's
Aubree, it's your turn. Aubree, you were the captain of the women's soccer team. Can you tell me about your experience of just being the captain?
Like being the captain this season, being a leader.
Yeah. How many years were you captain
Yeah.
for? Was this your first year or?
This was my first year as the captain. It was my second year at JWU Soccer. I'm
Okay.
also a transfer like JB. After my freshman year, I came over.
Okay.
But I think I'm the oldest of 5 kids, so I've always been leadership mentality, getting it done. I was the captain of my youth club team. But I think with this school, I really wanted to be a captain for this team because I'm already in a position on the field. I'm a center back, so I can see the whole field. I can guide everyone. So I think being able to step up and be more verbal outside of just the field, with our practices, with checking in on my teammates, making sure they're all okay, being able to be a captain and be that guiding force for all my team, that was really rewarding. That's what I wanted to do this season.
That's pretty cool, cool. Now, we kind of talked about teams making nationals. The women's team made nationals this year
Yes.
for the first time in quite a while.
In 3 or 4 years, I think.
3-4 years. Now, kind of talk to me about that when it comes to how you felt, how you guys engaged with one another, the team bonding, your experience kind of going to fight for a national championship. How was that?
Yeah, so last season, I remember we had such high hopes that we were going to make it. And then sitting there, watching, you weren't there last season, but the men's team was all behind us watching.
Yeah.
They had just, clinched their bid, so in our heads, we're oh, we're going. This is going to be great. And then just hearing all the names get called and us not get called, despite there being, teams we had played and had beaten this season that made it in over us, it put it in everyone's head, okay, apparently anything can happen, but next season, there's no room for error. It's got to be grind season. We got to go. Got to win.
Big snub last year. Big snub.
Yeah. And that's what it takes, kind of seeing success, what you want. You gotta find some kind of way of, kind of getting that grit to get into that next spot. I know I've heard that the men's soccer team, before they went back-to-back national championship, they had a crappy season. They were getting beat down, and they actually said, it's enough. We had to rebuild everything. We had to get our stuff together to keep it PG.
Yeah.
And really, we had to push forward and go for it.
Yeah.
And overall, it resulted in them winning 2 national championships because they cared so much. And, I felt that the same way. You saw us go to the national championship, that made y'all more motivated to go and fight for your opportunity to go to the national championship.
Yeah, so we were lucky. Every, that moment of us sitting there not making it, every single person except 2 players returned. So we only had 1 graduate and 1 not come back. So it's almost everyone on that whole roster got to feel that moment and feel us not making it and use it as their motivation to make it this year.
Yeah.
Now, you talked about kind of adapting to the roles of leadership since when you got the captain armband. What was your experience overall? Do you, from expectations, do you feel you had to learn from certain things, or what was it for you?
For being a captain?
Yeah.
I think you learn every game. I'm never going to be a perfect captain. You take it from each game. I was learning more about my team with every practice, every game, how I can individually support this person versus this person, because I feel that's huge in women's sports. You need to be there for each other. That's how a team operates. So how I was talking to one of my other center backs is different than how I'm going to talk to one of my forwards. So I took each game and each practice as a learning opportunity to get to know my team, so I could be the kind of leader each person needed instead of just the team.
Do you ever have to make a tough decision, as a captain, when you got that role, do you have to make a tough decision with your teammates or in a game?
Honestly, I don't think so.
You never thought.
No, this team that I'm on is so unique in the aspect that everyone genuinely loves each other. They want to be there for each other. So I never really had to be the person to step out and say, okay, we can't do this. Someone's doing this wrong, or you're talking to this person wrong. I was helped by all my teammates.
100%. I feel with your team, I've gone to a couple of your games, and I feel that you guys have a really tight bond.
Yeah.
You guys hype each other up when y'all score goals. Yeah. Y'all are getting in each other's grill when it comes to we want to get better. We want to actually go out and win, or better said, go to the national championship. You guys do y'all's part to lift each other up just to get y'all by every single day, especially on the field of practice.
It's pretty obvious too, because I went to a couple and I went to that big rain game and everything like that.
Yeah.
And no matter if y'all are down, up, that energy is still there. And I think it's very important for teams to have that. I mean, and myself as a captain too, it's like you need to sometimes captains need to rely on their teammates as well.
Yeah.
So it just speaks volumes that like you could just tell everybody cares and has the best version of each other. And I think compared to the high school teams, I'm a lot closer with my college teams as well. So any recruits that watch this, like I think it's really important that you have a good fit with your team. But I could tell from the women's soccer team that they had each other's backs, and I think it goes back to the mentally, like that helps your mentality so much. So.
Yeah, like those are genuinely my best friends on and off the field. Like my coaches have done an amazing job at they will only recruit people that they think are good people before good soccer players. Yeah. So like everyone that comes in, like they were able to click right away with the whole group, and I think that's really rare in college athletics because I know my last school I did not have a similar situation among my team, but this school, like our coaches do a great job at like these girls are all good people and they're good players, so it's really easy when we're all in, like we all really do care about each other and then what we're doing in practices and games.
100%. So back again, I'm not starting it, but like you were saying, you're talking about what? Like this is not a podcast.
Yeah.
Right? Well,
I think we were talking about captains stuff.
Yeah.
You're talking about captains, like efforts.
Yeah, captains, efforts, just.
That I never really had to bitch at my team.
Yeah, she never really had to like make those tough decisions. That's what the original question was. You ever mean to have tough decisions or had to say like things, and she's like no, and I was like yeah, you don't really need to.
Well.
Because y'all have seen my team. Those are besties.
Yeah. No, but your team does actually care about each other. So.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like, as we're kind of like talking about, like it's all about putting in the effort for both of us. And now, like, this is a question for both of y'all. It's a long season, but we'll say that. But like once you're in season, it goes by like that. Like you're busy. You got training all week, and then you have games. You really don't have time to think. But I feel like we all gone through this, like the feeling of like quote unquote burnout. When like you're kind of feeling like overwhelmed, you're kind of getting tired of just kind of doing the same old things. Like what motivates y'all? Like to stay motivated. Like what's better said, reword it. Like that challenge of kind of dealing with burnout. Like how do you stay motivated throughout like these tough games, tough practices you kind of like get through?
I think for myself personally, it's again going back to what we've been talking about. You have to rely on your team. Like individually, you need to not burn out by setting yourself some small goals, giving yourself some slack. Like if you know it's been a long week, if you had back-to-back matches, and then that next practice you're not doing as good, it's like it's okay. You have to give yourself grace. And I'm like my hardest critic easily. I think most people are, but you have to give yourself some grace there. Like you're not always going to play good. You're not always going to have some good practices. There are times where it just might be off. You might be sore. You might need to like not go as hard that one specific practice and everything, and just make sure you recover and everything. But honestly, to deal with burnout, you have to rely on your team. You have to look at the good aspects of the sport. Like if it's an away game and you just traveled all this time, but you're with your brothers, like that's what it is, so you're at the hotel and you're joking around, you're having fun at dinner and everything like that. I think you have to look at it as like, yes, it's serious, I'm motivated, I want us to win a championship, that's how I stay motivated, but I also stay like away from the burnout because I also have to think like, it is tennis, like it's a sport, I'm not going to be a college athlete ever again, so I need to enjoy this time that I have, and I need to make sure that what the end goal is to have the best opportunity, the best season, and to go win that championship, to get that conference tournament and things like that. And for tennis, we don't really get to compete in the USCAA. We might be able to get like the all academic awards and stuff like that, but we don't get to compete with them. And now we got accepted into a conference in the ECAC, and so that's our motivation, I think, to focus, to try to best to win that, and also just realize like you're a college athlete for the only time in your life, so enjoy it.
Yeah, I think with me, I definitely hit burnout multiple times a season because soccer's so demanding. Like, you're 90-minute games, kind of getting beat up, pushed around most of the game, 2-hour practices. Like, you're tired. I'm dead all the time. But I think when I'm hitting my burnout, I just kind of remember, like, I didn't think college soccer was going to happen for me for a while. Like, I'm sure you too. Like, we were COVID kids. Like, recruitment was stalled. You didn't have it for a year. And then before that, I had torn my ACL. So I really didn't think I was playing soccer. Like, took a gap year and came back. So I have to remember, like, I'm kind of just blessed to be where I'm at. Like, I've worked to be there. So why am I going to feel the burnout and feel like I don't want to go? Like, I've put so much into being an athlete and being a college soccer player I just kind of need to finish being a college soccer player.
That's so true.
Right.
That's so
keep
true.
going.
Now, like, I learned this from, like, I have a good friend that went to go to play, got drafted to play at New York City FC.
Yeah,
in
wow.
MLS.
Okay.
And I kind of talked about that, kind of the feeling about burnout. And I think the best way he described it is like, you know what? It's fictional. It's not real. It's just a feeling you want to give to yourself. But you have to kind of step back from like what you're doing and like kind of focus on like your why. Like, why are you playing soccer? Why are you playing tennis?
That's true.
And you got to go back to like the fundamentals. Like, I go back because I love the sport. I go back because I want to succeed. And like, you have to remember all those small steps and step away before you kind of proceed. So I think that's really important to like when it comes to like when you kind of deal with these like burnout feelings. It's just kind of like remember why you do everything.
Yeah.
Because you might start getting like you might be getting lost in kind of the sauce of like the main goal.
Yeah.
So you got to find a way to get back on track. Now, Aubree, I know we talked a lot about your like you being as a captain. What about like in football overall? What was like a time that like it stood out to you like on the JWU team? Like what was like one of your memorable moments?
When we got our bid for nationals, we weren't expecting to be the seed that we were. We were kind of like, oh, maybe we'll be a little lower. And we heard JWU, and it was kind of, I don't know, almost like a fever dream. Like I can't even remember the exact moment, but I remember like I felt my heart go like all the way up. And we're all screaming. We were all holding hands, like jumping, hugging. Like it's very core memory. Like I'll think about that a lot.
Oh yeah, especially like you kind of don't forget where you were at the end of the day. Like I know like when we got our bid to nationals this year, we're kind of like our heart was racing too because like they call the first seed, they call the second seed. We're like, oh crap, where are we? And then next year we got called in the fifth seed, and we're just like fist pump, like let's go, like we're in.
Yeah.
We got another chance to fight once again.
Yeah, it was very rewarding. It's like okay, like the season was rough. Like everything, my body hurt all the time. Like I'm exhausted, but it was worth it. Like look what we're doing. I get to go play 2 more games with my team.
Yeah, but you had to play 2 more games. But now, like, kind of like fast forwarding to now in the spring, inaugural season for softball. Are you excited?
Yeah, it's very. I haven't played softball in 7 years, but
7 years. Wow.
yeah, I'm just ready. It goes back to I love JWU. Like if they want to start something like this and I can help be a part of it, why not?
Yeah. What are like some expectations of yours? Like, what do you expect for this year?
I'm batting 800. You kidding me?
Batting 800.
Just straight dingers.
Yeah.
Only home runs.
Yeah, there's not gonna be a single out. No, I think it's just I'm getting back into the swing of things. Like it was the first practices this week. I was like, dang, like I don't suck. Like I'm okay. But my expectations are just, it's very, we got limited people. It really came into fruition, like the softball team, like after the school year started.
Right.
So it was hard to do recruiting. Our coaches did a great job at getting some transfers and actually getting people that were already in JWU with softball experience to come and play. So it's like, it's the 10 of us. We're just going to grind through it this season. And next year, I think it's going to be crazy. I won't be there, but I think it's going to be insane.
Now, like, you were a captain, and just being part of the women's soccer team, like, what's something you can take from being on the women's soccer team to kind of bring it along to the softball next season?
Yeah, so I think it's I know softball is a team sport, but it's also, there's so many more individual aspects than there is in soccer, because it's kind of, the ball's hit to you only. Like, you need to field it, you need to make the good throw to the next person, or you're the only one up to bat, so you need to produce something. But I think I can take like the team aspect of what I've learned from women's soccer onto softball. So like me and Katie are working really hard to like make sure these practices are a fun environment, like uplifting, like keep the balance, because if it's all work, no play, like everyone's gonna get that burnout easy. So if it's making sure everyone's having a good time, but we're still learning these fundamentals, we're still have the same goal of putting softball on the map for JWU, then I think we'll do great.
That's good. I mean, it's all about inputs and just effort. I think work effort, input, and just going out there and just giving everything you got and just learning from any mistakes or any losses and just proceeding at the end of the day. I think you guys are in the right mindset overall, and I feel like you guys are going to put up a big fight.
Oh yeah, season. The underdogs right here. Like I definitely don't have college softball talent, but I've got some college sport heart.
But you're also an athlete too, and I think that plays a huge role.
I'm hoping it'll bleed in a little bit, and I also cannot be bad at something. So like, if I'm not good, I will be at the field by myself until I'm good.
It's in your blood.
I totally get that.
Like I don't want to be embarrassed. Like I'm gonna go out there. I'll put on a show. Yeah. It'll be good.
Make it a Cinderella story this year.
Yeah.
No, that's what this team is. It really is the underdogs. Like we're kind of going against a lot of obstacles, a lot of different hurdles, but everyone does want to be there. Like, we kind of weeded out the people that don't want to be there and don't want to put in the effort it takes to be a college athlete. So even though it's a smaller team, like, it's people that are going to put everything they have into it.
Right. Now, like, kind of stepping away from being, like, a college athlete, back to, like, JB, you mentioned that you were in a lot of clubs. You seem very business-orientated. You did a lot of internships.
Yes.
You had opportunities to work with corporate jobs. Now, can you like walk me through and like tell me about how you got that opportunity and like what skills you kind of gained from like working these corporate jobs overall?
Yeah, I think it's important to understand where you also want to try your best to where you want to go your career. Even those people that have done a lot of internships like myself, like we don't have it all figured out. Like, no one has it all figured out. So I think I went to the career fair that they have every spring semester. I think they have maybe one in the fall, one in the spring. I went there, I talked to companies, I dressed well, I brought my resume out there, I was just confident, fake it till you make it, that is real. That is like something that I embody as well. I think I also embody it as an athlete as well. You can't act like you don't know what's going on and that you're scared, even if you don't know what's going on and you're nervous about it. I think I went through the career fairs and all that kind of stuff, used LinkedIn to my advantage, did a couple of interviews and everything, and it was mostly for a PSYOP role, for kind of dealing with data analytics almost. And I think I took from that was that you're going to be on your own a lot, but you also have people in the background. But and you can collaborate with them and everything, because there's a difference between doing like a group activity and doing it with your department and your team versus doing it, you on your own. You have to complete this project and task, because I had an internship project, and then I had to like rely on people to help. Like, hey, can you show me how this? Can you get me access to this? Is there possible? Can you give me any advice or any tips? So I think you had to. The biggest thing I learned is when you're starting your career and everything like that, like they'll give you like the tools. Like, here's a computer, here's the software, here's the access, here's your task, complete it. We're here to help you, but you need to do this. And I think that's really important to me to learn from my career was you need to go out there and do it on your own, and you need to make sure that you work on your own. Know that you're not alone, but you need to be the one that's willing to do it and to take matters in your own hands.
Yeah, and like at the end of it, like you were mentioning, like dude, no one knows you.
Yeah,
no,
that's true.
Fake it till you make it is like that's very, very true when it comes to like the workforce. When you go out to a new environment, like no one knows your background. Like you could have been, I'll say like dude, you could have been some one person that persona like back at home, and then you come here, you can be someone else, and they don't know about your persona back at home. So like that's what I'm saying. Like dude, you can fake it till you make it. I remember like working at this one job. And I said, like, dude, like, I was forklift certified. I knew how to run the machinery.
You're not supposed
but
to
you have to learn quick. That's the thing. I learned super quick.
You got to be a quick learner. So there's a difference between lying and there's a difference between allowing yourself, like, I didn't know data analytics, but I knew Excel, right? And I knew that I'm a quick learner. I knew that there's Microsoft Help. There's places on YouTube because I used it in Excel and I used it in class too. And so but it's a part of using your resources. Like they all use like Microsoft Copilot, like this whole new AI thing. Like, don't let it write your paper, but don't let it not give you ideas. Don't let it not use your outline. Like I put in Microsoft, like I don't know how to do this, and like because you have to use your resources. And I think that's just part of it. It's using your resources, and you know that you're not alone. Like you can ask people for help and advice and stuff within your department and other departments, but you have to figure it out at the end of the day. Like that's the task that's assigned to you. You have to figure it out.
Yeah, and I promise you, businesses want you to use AI, like ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Like, some people have the idea like it's frowned upon because like it's cheating, emphasis. But like it's a way to source your information, get you to the next step. So like kind of getting to the next step, like networking.
Right.
Yeah. You're very big on networking. Kind of elaborate, like, dude, how important is networking in the real world?
Networking is extremely important. I think one of the things being blessed with at Johnson & Wales, and we've been talking about this, is that we're in Charlotte. Like we are in uptown Charlotte. Like you could see the Bank of America tower right there. We're like a 5-minute walk to the Bank of America Stadium.
Alleyway.
Yeah.
We share a parking lot.
Yeah, we share a parking lot.
Stadium.
So I mean, it's just really important to be able to network. It's just to be able to talk about yourself. I think people don't realize the importance of it, and not like brag about yourself, not put yourself down, but say, this is who I am, and this is what I do, and this is what I want to do. And I think if you find a way to do that in a business sense, you're going to do really well in your career. But just getting to know people, I think it's really fun. I obviously love to talk. Probably know this by now. But I really enjoy it. I think it's extremely important because you don't know what opportunity it has. I mean, they screen through thousands upon thousands of resumes, and if the AI aspect they use, or even the recruiter doesn't pick something up, maybe they print them out, or maybe they accidentally scroll through it, or maybe your file wouldn't download. You don't know all what happens. But if I'm like, hey, I knew this person, I had a networking event, and I saw them at this career fair, and they seem like a really bright student, and let's look at his resume, and oh wow, this is it. And then he comes for an interview. That's realistically how a lot of jobs happen. Besides playing that LinkedIn game where you connect and you follow and you message, go into these networking events because they know who you are. They know what you do. They know what you're capable of. And I think it's extremely important. I think if you can find a way to just master it and to be the best version of yourself, it's going to really help a lot in your career. It's going to make you more confident in yourself. It's nice when people are like, wow, you did all these things. Like, that's really cool. Like, you're like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I think it really helps moving forward.
And
Well, I think that's also what's great about JWU is every professor we have here, especially like I'm a psychology major, so it's run by Dr. Howard, but he makes sure that every professor we have has a job in the psych field.
Right.
So we have all these different, I have a professor that does research with like childhood autism.
Yeah.
I have a professor that worked in the prisons doing the evaluation exams there to see if they're mentally fit for court. Like every professor here has real world experience in what they're teaching you.
And they have a lot of connections, and I think that's the biggest thing about Johnson Wales that I wish they talked more about is they really have the connections here. They have the ability to do to take you to that next step. And sure, you might not have the most rigorous classes, like we're not the Harvard and Yale, but I think what separates us besides our small classroom size is that we have the connections. They're literally right down the road. And I think that helps a lot with networking. As I went to a networking event at the Charlotte Tower. And I was just able to do that because I subscribed to this newsletter. They're like, oh, you're a student and you're right here. Like, yes, perfect, come up here. And I think things like that, like doors will open. It's up to you to grab the opportunities, but it's also up to you when you get to that stage, when you cross that bridge, to be able to present yourself well. And it takes time.
Yeah. I mean, the best quote you can say is, it's not what you know, it's who you know,
and
right?
It's so real.
100%. And that's going to be the most important thing. When you're at school, you have to focus on getting the best grades you can. So you got to get the best job. But if you're not getting yourself out there, exposing yourself, kind of selling your image, you're not going to get the people's attention.
Exactly. And it speaks volumes too because you do have a reputation. Not everyone's going to like you, you might not vibe with everybody else, but you do have a reputation, and that matters, and that precedes you, saying if you're a hard worker, oh yeah, he's always doing things, it's like he's in a lot of these clubs, he's on networking events, it's it's true. I mean, I like the grind, like the hustle. I think it goes back to being an athlete, but I think it's important to just, like you said, sell yourself and make sure you know people.
Right. Now, kind of going back in a few minutes back, or a couple 10 minutes, 20 minutes, but you talked about your clubs and being in leadership. How does that mold you overall, as a person, with everything you're doing, what motivates you, what gets you?
I think for me is that I have a lot of dreams and goals. I tell people I have a very serious, driven side of me, and I have obviously a very joking side of me as well, and all those I know personally can see both of those. I think whether it's my girlfriend or my family, they can tell that I want to make an impact. I want to help people. I think it's big. I know that my family at times has been down on our luck, whether it's mentally also been down with school or with sports or whatever it might be, and it's important to be able to have that avenue to help people and impact people. And every day it's that I want to make sure that I'm making some sort of a difference, even if it's little by little. Sure, there's bigger goals and dreams, but I think with being a leader is that I just remember having crappy ones, and I think I just hated being in that position. Same thing when I was a tutor. It's I remember going to tutoring and I was even more lost. And so you're sitting there, you're a freshman in college, you're away from your family, you're homesick, it's stressful time, there's 4 years left and you're 3 months in and you're kind of feeling this is over your head. And I didn't want to be in that position. And so I told myself that whenever I have the opportunity, not only do I want to help people and impact people, but I want to make sure that I was that leader that I wanted people to be. If my sister looks up to me, she's that's how my brother is, and I think to me that's important. And yeah, it sounds like a very deep thing, but I mean, at the end of the day, it is. I feel like you should have a purpose in life. That's what helps me get up in the morning, whether it's tennis, whether it's a match day, whatever. Yes, you need that community, but I think you need to be able to impact people, and you just want to be the leader that you want people to be. When I look at someone as a leader, I want to embody that.
And like I think that's the main thing. Like, yeah, you gotta have a purpose in life. To kind of get by day by day.
Exactly.
And look forward to like every day. Like you have to have a purpose.
That's true.
Now, speaking of purpose, like the SAAC. What's the abbreviation for SAAC? I'm not gonna try to butcher it.
Yeah. So it stands for the Student Athletic Advisory Committee.
Right. Now, how like the purpose of SAAC? Like, can you talk about like what's your goal with SAAC and like what you're trying to do?
Right. So a little bit about the SAAC. The NCAA requires each university that's in either Division 1 to Division 3, to have the SAAC, the Student Athletic Advisory Committee. And we're basically the student liaison between the NCAA and the regulations and everything and the students in the athletic department. Obviously, the athletic directors, the individual coaches, which we have very good ones here at Johnson & Wales, are supposed to be able to tell you all the rules and regulations, all the changes, and making sure that we have the most appropriate stuff and the best equipment possible as well. And I think our vision specifically is to make sure that we market Johnson & Wales to the best of our ability, that our athletes are prepared, that we are prepared, and to make sure that we market ourselves, and that we showcase what amazing things we're going to, like the national championship, making it to the playoffs. We have former national championship winner. We have records that are broken. We have a small trophy cabinet that we need to upgrade because it's literally jam-packed with stuff. And I don't think people know about that. And it's important to know because when you go to a school, you want to be like, yeah, I was a Wildcat. Like, even if you weren't an athlete, like, you want to be able to show, yeah, our basketball team's goated. Like, they're so good, It goes a long way, especially when you talk about events and stuff. So I think the goal for the SAAC is to embody Johnson & Wales athletics and the values that Johnson & Wales has along with the NCAA, but also promote our athletics in the best possible way with volunteer communities, like making sure we go to each other's games and banners and posters, just be able to market Johnson & Wales athletics and all the amazing things that we're doing.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
What about you, Aubree? Like, how does the SAAC
Let's go, Coach here.
Yeah.
How does SAAC influence the school or me?
You, individual.
I just really like having the ability to help change athletics here, help bring it into like an upward motion, like make it better. Like, I know at my last school we did not have anything like this. We had maybe 300 students in all. So like being here, and it's still a small school, but it's bigger, but we actually get to support each other's sports and we get to make a change. So I think being in SAAC, we can help, like our goal is to find resources for people to be able to travel to other games. So I think even doing that, like if we can achieve our small goal this year, the student like population, or not, what's the word?
Student body?
Like just the student presence at games.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is like when you think about like, we were talking about night games, like playing under the lights, imagine like all your classmates cheering you on and all your other athletes that know how hard you're working and know how tasking and challenging like being a college athlete is. It feels a lot better when you see their support there.
100%. And I think too, people don't realize, like, obviously, we're NCAA Division III, you're a college athlete and you need to embody that and be proud of yourself that you got here. But we're not like the Clemsons, the Georgia Techs, the Alabamas, the Georgias. We don't have the stadiums and like the student sections and all this kind of stuff. Like we just don't have those resources, and that's okay. So we kind of have to make our own resources. You have to put in more work to be able to do that. And I went to the rain game and women's soccer game. That was a super fun experience, just being in the stands, and watching them compete and everything. So that is something that we definitely want to embody. So I agree with Aubree. That's a huge thing.
Yeah, and it changed the vibe, just like having people there. Where it's like, dang, I made a good tackle, and like, look at these people like cheering. Like I can hear them. Like it just motivates you to keep going.
Right. Now, what do you guys envision like the SAAC becoming in the future for like incoming students? Like, how do you feel? What do you think would be the main thing for SAAC to grow?
I think we want the SAAC to be able to be obviously a safe place for everybody to come and to join. It's not this like have to be exclusive club. Like that's not what it's meant to be. It's meant to be that we want you to be serious about making a change and making like just athletics just overall better, because especially if you're here as a freshman, you're going to be here. We want you to be here for 4 years. Like 4 years, yes, they go by really quickly. I mean, you're a senior. I'm pretty much a senior, so it's like I'm like winding it down like, dude, where did this years go? But it is long though. And so we want to make sure that if you want to change, that you get that change within that year, and that you can see it. So we want to be able to have processes run by, go smoothly, to have the podcast and stuff, not just to get people here, but then to just keep making it better, to keep seeing the vision and the change and just really make it better and seeing what you want for it to come true, really.
Yeah, I think SAAC will make it helps like the athletic department become a whole and not like this sport and this sport and this sport.
That's true.
It lets everyone kind of come work together. Like we all want different things out of the athletic department, but we can't all get them. But we can collectively decide like this will benefit us as a whole instead of it benefiting one sport.
Yeah, that's beautifully said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I'm like, dude, y'all care. It shows how much y'all care and how passionate you guys are about just Johnson and Wales. But like, first question should have been the first question. Why did y'all come to Johnson and Wales? Why JWU?
I mean, we're both transfers, so I think we both kind of touched on this. Is that we obviously didn't like what our other school was doing. We didn't like that there was their lack of resources, the lack of equipment, the lack of drive and faculty. But I think I came here, I got in the portal and everything, and I was like, okay, the first question, and it goes back to my coach. Shout out to Coach Lindsay of the men's and women's soccer team. It was just she was just amazing. The first question she asked me was, so what are your dreams after you're done with your sport? And no coach asked me that. And like I said, I'm very driven. I have all these dreams and goals. And I talked about 20 minutes for it. And I was like, I'm sorry, coach, I just ramble on. She goes, no, that's amazing. And I think that's what JWU embodies. Like, what do you want to do after college? What can we do to help you get there? And so in the academic program, faculty was willing to meet a recruit that hasn't even committed yet. Like, faculty was willing to meet with me. And I think that just speaks volumes. And not even just faculty, the chairs. So that just speaks volumes to the way the school is and how they want to prepare you. And from an athletic standpoint, this tennis team wasn't doing as good, and I saw myself like, okay, I can be a leader. I can help make this change. The community is there. They want to get better. The coach was great. The athletic department seemed good. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have the resources in here to succeed, and now it's up to me to be able to embody the vision academically and athletically for here. And so just in terms of the coach and just kind of what I was saying, that's really why I chose JWU. It stood out to me almost immediately.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, I came to JWU mainly because I knew I was relocating to North Carolina, and my last school shut down. So they shut down in May. I had about, honestly, a month to get recruited if I wanted to play the next season, because it's kind of hard to preseason's going to start at the beginning of August, like end of July. Like, I needed to find somewhere. And so I came to JWU, and I knew as soon as I talked to my coach, like I literally called him. I always joke with him that I recruited myself because I called him and I was like, hey, like my name's Aubree Warren. Can I come play for you? He's like, you sound great, but can you send me some clips so I know like you can play? So I sent him my clips. I sent him my clips and he called back. He's like, yeah, like we're interested. And I was still talking to like some other schools. Like I talked to Queens. Like I just kind of wanted to be in the city. But he really made the effort of, like, he'd call me, like, once a week and be like, so how are you? What do I need to know about Aubree this week? I'm like, wow. Like, he kind of just cares more about me as a human and not just a soccer player. Because I also think my coach knows that you have to be doing well and being a human to be a good soccer player.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I came to JWU.
That's great. And now
self-recruitment.
For sure. Like, I think I had to do the same thing. Like, when I came to JWU, like, they asked me, like, hey, do you have, like, a highlight reel? I'm like, I just, like, my old senior highlight reel. And, like, I had to make that. And so you're like, all right, you got it.
Yeah,
like,
I sent a VO, like, full game clip. And I was like, I have the red cleats, so you can just watch that.
I sent it to my friend, one of my good old friends, Evan, like, the video. And I had music in the background. I put, like, the most hood music in the background. And then, just as a joke, he's like, dude, great video, but you better not send that to coach. Because that video, you're definitely not getting this spot. You're putting this, like, kind of thug trap music in the background. You gotta put, like, some, like, Quavo offset, like, offbeat, like, type.
Yeah, I got you.
But, now you're a senior. This is your senior, right? Your last semester, you'd say?
We'll see.
Well, let's say
have another year of eligibility.
Yep.
We'll see where it's taken.
But now let's say, like, this is your last year. If you decide to. Let's not get emotional. But, like, you wrap up your senior year, like, what's hopes for, like, the sports program here at Johnson & Wales?
They're going to be insane. Like, the team I have now, like, it's a very young team. Like, I think there's 27 or 8 of us. Probably 18 are underclassmen.
Wow.
And they're already insanely talented. And, like, you could kind of see it this season where we started to, like, tap into how much potential there is. But, like, within the next couple of years, like, it's going to be insane. Like, there's so much. Even, like, I know the recruits that are coming in are great, too. but the talent that's already there, like, once it matures a little bit, it's going, I keep saying insane, but that is what it's going to be.
You're going to see, like, the skyrocket, like, level, like,
Yeah.
dude, we're going to get more, I believe, like, one in the future, we're going to get more teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go from D3 to D2. I think ideally, like, dude, if everything goes right, hypothetically, you could be a D1 program in Uptown Charlotte. Not saying in the next 5-10 years,
We're gonna have to
but
buy out that bank or
later
something.
on, you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, even with softball, they have like 10 recruits coming in next year that are insanely talented.
Yeah.
So it's gonna, like, from first year to second, there's gonna be a huge, like, they're really working. All these coaches are pushing so hard on recruiting, and they're doing really well.
Yeah, big shout out to them because, like, they really care. So
that's
like, they
true.
want to keep the program growing, and they need to, like, order on Amazon a new, like, trophy case from.
Yes.
And they keep
Yeah, that's seriously, yeah.
Like, I know my coach, my soccer coach, he's one of the ones that has spearheaded, like, the going to D3. Like, he has made sure, I think he's the one that interviewed Coach O to help get softball here because we needed another women's sport.
Yeah.
So
I know
these
our
coaches really
our coach
care.
did the same thing, and it's really kind of helping us move forward.
Yeah. And people don't get it. Like, some people, they think it's just like a dream. Like, we're delusional right now, but, like, it's actually becoming a reality.
Yeah.
We're actually going to the NCAA faster than you actually expected.
Yeah.
Starting in 2025.
Yeah.
Now, for you as a senior, what advice would you give, like, the younger student athletes here or incoming freshmen from your time being here?
Loaded question. I mean, yeah.
You want to go? I need some time to think.
I mean, I think I have 2 more semesters left, so I'm in a similar boat as well. But I just think you have to enjoy the experience and just take your time. Like, yes, you want to be starting, you want to be playing, you want to be starting, you want to be involved in school and everything like that, and that's great. And I encourage you guys to do that. We want those kind of students here at JWU. But I think it takes some time. Like, give yourself grace, enjoy the. I hated this phrase growing up, but trusting the process is so legit. Like, I hate that phrase, but I also love it at the same time, and I've really tried to embody it. It's a love-hate relationship, but I think you have to trust the process. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to take time. No one has it figured out. You might, be doing bad in some classes. Like, that's normal. You might need to go to tutoring for the first time. I was a pretty good student. I didn't struggle in that many classes, really. And then I came here, and I was like, I'm struggling. And so just allowing yourself to grow as a person and as a player and everything like that, and just embody being with the team and just enjoy the process and everything like that. Work hard, put your head down and keep going and working hard and try to get involved as well, but just making sure that you enjoy the process and that you're really just grinding towards that next step. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, enjoying the process. Like you said, trusting the process, but enjoying it while you're doing it. Like, I took an athletic administration class here, and we did this discussion on, like, the statistics of being a college athlete. And there's thousands and thousands of athletes in every sport across the United States. Only 10% of high school athletes make it into college athletics. So, like, you are
already in the 10%.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what level you are. Like, it could be JUCO. It can be JUCO to D1.
Yeah.
Any level, like, you are already surpassing 90% of the other athletes, like, you played with in high school. So I think understanding that and knowing that you already put in the work to get to where you are, no matter the level, and just letting that guide you.
And I think D3 gets a bad rep. And, like, a common misconception, I was at a Division II school, I was on scholarship, I pay less at a Division III school, or going to be Division III school, than I play at a Division II. Now, that is not across the board. That is not like a blanket statement by any means. But don't cut out D3 schools. I mean, we compete hard. We play D2 schools in the area. We play NAIA schools as well. Don't cut out those D3 schools. And JUCO now, those 2 years of eligibility, don't cut into your eligibility. So they just made that new change. So I think it's a lot of, I know people that could have gone D3 and they're like, oh, it's just D3. And now they see how other players are enjoying their time and how good they're playing too. And it's like, yeah, we just played a Division II school and, we beat them. We just played an NAIA school. I beat a guy that was like on full ride. Like, I just, I embodied being a D3 athlete, even when it's the jokes, when, it's 5 a.m. and you're like doing the 6-hour bus ride, like whatever it is, it's like embody being an athlete. And I think there's a lot of people that regret not giving D3 a shot, not giving D2 a shot. Like, I think that's a legitimate thing. So, you're a college athlete regardless, and just, you have to embody it. You have to embody being a college athlete.
Well, yeah, division doesn't necessarily mean, like, talent.
True.
Yeah, competition's still there.
Yeah, division is based on how big your school is, how much resources it gets.
Yeah.
But like we played a D2 this year, beat them.
Yeah.
Like our second game.
Yeah.
This whole season. Like it really, your division does not dictate how good you are.
Yeah.
It just kind of dictates the funding you get, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's why it's gonna be nice that we're jumping to D3. We're gonna get some more money.
Well, JB, I'm gonna leave this last question to you. I mean, you got 2 years left.
Yeah.
We're kind of talking about a little bit about the future, and everything's said and done with Johnson and Wales, and you leave. What do you want to leave behind, like as a school and like for the athletics and all the club members? Like, what's your goal?
Yeah, I figured out recently that I'm kind of graduating early, and so it let me the 2 years that I was supposed to have just kind of like got cut short. You know, it's helping for my personal career. I do have years of eligibility left, so I might go pursue those. But I think what I want Johnson and Wales to be is I want it to be a place where people come to know that there is a community to better themselves and further their career, and for athletic purposes to be able to compete in a fun environment but also work hard. And I think that's what I love about D3 the most, because D2 and sometimes with JUCO it felt like, and I've known for JUCO as well, it's like you got all the work and there's no like breaks in between. I know NAI might be like that. I know your previous school was NAI, mine was not.
No breaks.
There's just no breaks, and it's so like you're almost like D1 without the reward. And I think D3 allows you to like work hard to compete for stuff, to play good level talent, but also to be able to have like a weekend free, you know, to be able to be on a Friday now where I can do this amazing podcast and talk with people and do the SAAC and stuff. So I really do think that I want Johnson & Wales to embody being a Division III school, to have a sense of community, to be able to partner with more places around Charlotte, to be that we are almost, besides UNCC, we are the Charlotte school. Like that's really what I want us to embody, because there's a lot of growth, there's a lot of opportunity at the school, and I think we are on the come up. I just think, you know, it's going to be hard to get there, and for all of these schools, a lot of these small schools are closing, they're losing funding, they're not quite there. And I know with Johnson & Wales, there's such a talented staff here, faculty, and everything like that. There's just a lot of movement forward, and there's students like us that really care about making it a better place. So I hope it becomes a driving force in the community. I hope people come to the tennis matches, softball games, not just students and different athletes, but also people in the community. Like embody that Johnson & Wales University has all these programs and everything like that, that it is Charlotte's school and that we're doing great things here. And, you know, will that vision come true? I don't know, but I know that, especially now that like I only have basically a little under a year left, you know, or about a year left, instead of like 2, I know that that's really what I want it to be.
I love that, JB. Yeah. I think that's like the best way to kind of end the podcast, that you're still putting the efforts into everything you can to make Johnson Wales grow, especially you, Aubree. I want to say thank you all for coming on.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
And it was a great talk. Better than I expected.
Yeah, me too. No, it was really fun.
And I hope that people can take parts of our podcast into their personal life and get inspired. I look forward to the next podcast.
Me too. Keep a lookout for it.
Yeah. Peace.